One. All right. We got Dillano right here. Dillano, would you like to introduce yourself to the panel and the people that are listening to the podcast?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm Dillano Medina. Started real estate about 5 years ago, really with my family. Kind of came from a background of entrepreneurs, and I really always told myself that I wanted to be a businessman, like even from a little age, from a young age. And I started real estate, haven't looked back. I was doing it while I was in college, made six figures while I was in school, wholesaling, and pretty much it just took off from there. Now I run my own wholesaling operation. We have a fix and flip operation. We're doing Airbnbs, multifamilies, and it's been a dream. It's been a dream. Can't believe I've came this far. So
Yeah. Can you tell people like how old you are too?
yep, 24 years old. 24 years old.
24. Like that's a young age and you're doing everything. And were you growing up in a field where it was all like investing? Like who taught you the most?
Yeah, so really kind of a background. My family was in the mortgage business like in the early 2000s. My mom started off as a real estate agent, and she made $1 million as an agent in Virginia. And we used to have like a lot of parties, and we used to network a lot, go to a lot of networking events. My parents were part of a network marketing company that sold mortgage products. So they were in the mortgage field as well too. And they were on the cover of magazines. They were doing a lot of different things. So I was kind of always like in that environment, right? Like I was talking to millionaires. I was talking to people with like tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, like when I was like 8, 10 years old, right? So like I was already in that environment growing up. My parents traveled a lot and they put us in a lot of rooms, right? So it kind of started and stemmed from there. But I didn't really realize and really take advantage of my network, obviously, because I was at a younger age. But when I turned 17 going into 18, I said, hey, I want to go ahead and start utilizing my network and learning how to become my own boss and learning how to work for myself. So started from there, and then just, meeting people along the way.
And what was the biggest fear that you had whenever you were 18 making those moves?
Yeah, I was really worried about the judgment I was going to receive from people for being so young, right? Like I didn't think people would take me seriously. So I always taught myself like you got to dress to impress, right? So I remember and this is actually how I met my financial advisor. I saw like a networking event on I think it was Meetup. You guys know the app Meetup.
Yeah.
So I saw a networking event on there in Cary, like when I was 18. And at the time, I was like doing a network marketing business selling like travel products. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go into the room. I'm gonna network with people. I'm gonna sell my products, this, and that, right? So I go into like this big room, right? And there's like everybody is probably like 50 plus years older than me. Like you could tell everybody in there's got money. You could tell everybody's in there got different services, financial planning services, accounting services, just everything, right? And I'm definitely the youngest person up in there, right?
Mhm.
So they're going around, everybody's sharing things about themselves. They come to me, everybody's just like, yo, what does this guy have to bring to the table, right? I'm like, I'm curious, right? What is he doing here? Because you don't see most 18-year-olds coming to a networking event on a Saturday dressed up, talking business, right? You just don't see that. So a lot of them were very shocked to see me in there. So I came there, presented my business, and afterwards we networked. And one of the guys was like, hey, like, how old are you? He's like, 18. He's like, wow, you're 18 in this room? He's like, do you have a financial advisor? I said, no. He was like, well, look, come, let's have lunch. Let's meet up. Let's talk. I work for this company called Edward Jones. And I've been set up with mutual funds and an IRA for the past, what, about 24 now? So it's about 6 years now I've been doing that. So just kind of being in that room at a young age really inspired me. And then when I was in college, I was the president of the entrepreneurship club at UNC Pembroke. So it kind of got passed down to me because there was a guy who was it, and then he was graduating, so he kind of just passed it down to me because he saw I was like really eager. So I just made a lot of connections over the past few years, and really just putting myself in the right room.
Wow. And what would be the biggest advice you would give to an 18-year-old? Like, I know one of them would be dressing right, because that gives a good indication of who you can be or who you are already.
Yeah, I think my biggest advice for people is really just find something that you can enjoy and make money with and stick with it. And then also to find the best person in that industry and just come prepared to ask a lot of questions and get ready to learn.
Mhm.
I think my biggest regret was like not being like, it seems like, yeah, I've been in a lot of rooms, but like I feel like I wish I could have been in more rooms or
Yeah.
paid for more mentorship or masterminds, because I feel like I could be even farther ahead than I am now, had I known, okay, this is what, I need to do in order for me to succeed in my field. So I think as an 18-year-old, if your goal is to make lots of money, no matter what field it is, it could be entrepreneurship, could be any type of business, could be, you could be a lawyer, doctor, whatever field you're in, find somebody who is really good at what you're trying to do and really become their best friend, right? Try to ask them a lot of questions, hang out with them as much as possible, and really just, always listen, right? Because a lot of times we like to talk about ourselves and we forget to listen. We shut off everything else, but you don't learn if you don't listen. So that's my biggest advice.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. You ever read like the How to Win Friends and Influence People? You
Bro,
got it right there. I bet you got it right there.
come on, man. Come on, man. Right here, bro.
And what when people think of you, right? What do you want them to think? Like, what kind of business are you mostly related to?
Yeah, I've been doing real estate for a while. I would say real estate is definitely one of my passions, but what I really strive to achieve in life is really just to make an impact on anybody that wants to succeed in any field, right? I'm a big motivator, right? No matter
Mhm.
whatever you decide that you want to do, and whatever area that you decide to go in, I want to be able to at least say that I had a hand in helping you, whether it was prep talk, motivation, helping somebody prepare a speech, helping people speak in front of a group of people. I've done a lot of that, and I felt like that's helped a lot of people in that I've encountered on this journey. So I when I what I want people to think of me is, hey, this is a person who is a leader, who is a motivator, who is supportive, who is always giving, and somebody that was just trustworthy, right? Those are the big things that I want people to remember me by.
Nice. And going to real estate, how was your first real estate deal? What was that like?
Man, it was very frustrating up until I got it, right? Like I paid for a $7,000 mentorship coaching program.
Damn.
Yeah. And I didn't even have $7,000 to be honest with you. I really didn't. I put everything on a credit card. I think I
Mhm.
maybe put like $1,000 down, but I put most of it on a credit card because I was just so hungry to learn, man. I was just so hungry to learn. I went to in 2019, I went to Kent Clothier's event. It was called Scale and Escape. And that's where I got to meet a lot of the heavy hitters like Sean Terry, Ed Milet, Justin Colby. I got to see that guy Billy Jean is marketing. You seen his ads
Mhm.
on YouTube and things like that. Got to see him for the first time, which was pretty crazy. So I came to a high level mastermind event with millionaires and billionaires and people that had a lot of success. And I was the youngest person in that room, and I was saying to myself, like, hey, I'm gonna make something out of this. And the money that I spent on the program more than surpassed what I was looking or expecting in doing that, right? So with the program, with the mentorship, it really took a lot of things into perspective. Like when I learned about wholesaling, I didn't learn about, hey, talk to the seller and then find a buyer. I learned about finding the buyer first, get understanding what their needs and wants are, and finding out what you can do to help them achieve their goals, right? Because when we look at business, we're looking at, okay, what kind of value do you add, right? And that's how I always approach new people or people that I come in contact with business. Like, how can I provide value? How can I be of service? And most importantly, how can I make you money, right? So I learned that in the mentorship, and then up into my first deal, I was networking with realtors, I was networking with buyers, I networked with, other wholesalers, just because I was just eager to help, get my first deal. So what I did to get my first deal, I remember it very vividly, right? I was at Wilmington, I was at like Wrightsville Beach, and my girlfriend, fiance now, she had like a therapy, like a social work conference. And I remember I was just like locked in this room, or I was in this room, right, at the hotel, because I went with her to the beach. And I was like, I'm going to get a deal. Like, it was 3 months, 4 months, and I had like no results. And I just said to myself, I said, I'm going to get a deal, right? So what I did was I went on Facebook. I started looking at all the real estate groups that were in my area. So I started looking at Charlotte Real Estate Investors, Raleigh Real Estate Investors Group, Fayetteville. I started looking at all those groups, and I just started noticing the people that were posting in there.
Mhm.
And then I just started DMing every single person that I came across, right? And this was my pitch. I was saying, hey, my name is Dillano Medina. I'm a real estate investor. I specialize in creating off-market deals for real estate investors like yourself,
Yeah.
right? That was my pitch. That was my approach. And then I followed up with and said, I can help you find opportunities that you're looking for if you tell me what you need, and I will go and find those. Or if you have properties that you're currently looking to sell, I can help you sell with my network of buyers, right? So it's like a double whammy. It's like, but wait, there's more, right? So I offered that, and I talked to enough people to where I came across somebody, and they started like, engaging with me in conversation, right? And she was this one particular lady I talked to. She said, hey, where are you investing out of? And I said, at the time, it was Fayetteville.
Mhm.
So she said, this is exactly what she said to me, right? She said, I have no idea where that is, but I have this deal. If you can help me find a buyer, we could JV it. And she
Whoa.
sent me a deal in Charlotte. And I was like, yes, like, this is my shot, because I had seen all the people posting in the groups. I had seen people saying, hey, drop your email below if you're looking, if you're looking to buy. A bunch of buyers would pop their email in the comments. I'd reach out to those people. So I was sending like hundreds of messages until I came across this one message. And then when I got the deal, by that point, when she sent me the deal, I was like, well, I have a bunch of other people that commented in somebody else's post that they were looking for deals. She sent me a deal. So now I'm going to email everybody that one deal and see who comes back and gets back with me. And then this one guy reached out to me. He said, yes, I'm very interested in the deal. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to buy. What do I need to do? And I just connected the dots, right? And that was my first deal, right? I didn't make much. My first deal, I probably made $1,000, right?
Yeah.
But for me,
You learned
the
a lot.
$1,000 was not only a lot of money, like $1,000 was probably more I made on one single paycheck at that time, right?
Yeah.
And then two, it was proof of concept, right? It was proof that, wow, this business is really real, right?
Yeah.
I can make money utilizing my connections and essentially becoming the middleman to help people do what they need to do, get what they need to get, and ultimately putting people together to win. So that was my first deal. We closed that, probably like a month later.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's really how it worked. It worked. And the crazy part about it is two things. The person that sent me the deal, I did not have a phone conversation with them. I didn't meet them in person. I didn't meet the buyer in person. I didn't know any of them, right? I just connected them and I was talking to them through email and Facebook Messenger, and we closed the deal, right? And the second crazy thing is that person is my business partner to this day
Wow.
for my wholesaling business. And we didn't meet in person until like 2 years later.
Hmm.
So we were doing deals for 2 years virtually. Well, eventually we got on the phone, right? Eventually
Yeah.
we started talking on the phone. But for 2 years, we didn't meet in person, and we were doing a bunch of deals virtually over just Facebook and over the phone, right? So that's how I got my first deal, and it kicked off ever since.
Yeah, I like that because you are, you know what I call that? I call you a Spider-Man. You know why? Because uh someone asked me like, "Hey, what's your favorite superhero?" Right? And I said, "Oh, Spider-Man," because
Mhm.
and I want to be Spider-Man. Guess what Spider-Man does? He connects people. He, even though he connects wall to wall, right? Connects building to building, people to building. You're connecting people to people, and
Mhm.
I find that amazing. Oh, look at that. Ben has this little Spider-Man thing.
Was that
Shem,
a ring pop?
yeah, Shem, go ahead. What's your question?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. So you said that first deal that you made, right? You made $1,000. So
Right.
how did you reinvest that money back into yourself to, go after the next deal?
No, excellent question, man. So what I did was I took that $1,000 and I immediately went to Burlington Coat Factory and I bought like 3 suits. That's exactly how I invested that $1,000. I bought
I
like,
respect that.
yeah, no, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep it real, right? Like that at the time, like getting $1,000 was a lot for me, right? So like I felt great. I was like, look, I need some clothes. I said, now instead of investing uh in me, I was gonna invest on me, right?
Hmm.
That was my
Ah,
I was like, I'm gonna invest on me because I still had that like, hey, if I'm gonna be a professional, I gotta look professional.
Yes.
So
mm,
that's how I spent my first $1,000 to invest on myself, which internally invested in myself as well, because when I had the money and I took that to invest on myself, I ultimately gained a lot more confidence, right? And could I have spent it differently? Yes. I could have spent it differently, right? I could have invested in more leads, or, you know, maybe a dialer or something else, right? But to me, that was the first thing that I thought about as far as investing into myself. So I just took that action and I did that, right? Different from probably a lot of different people, but that's what it is.
I respect it. You drip or drown, right?
Yeah,
You gotta look good for the part, man.
dude, I'm
I,
telling
I
you,
love.
man.
So another question, branching off of that a little bit, right? So if
Yeah.
you're going and you're trying to dress professionally, is there a certain style that you're going for, right? Like I
Mhm.
know there's a large selection of coats or clothing you could buy. Is there
Right.
is there a color that really radiates? I'm a businessman and I'm ready to
Yeah.
get down and dirty.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So I think I saw something where it was like, as when you have a business, right? The colors of your business really, it has a message to it, right? So like I think it was like people are more willing to trust you if you're wearing, or your logo is like blue, right? So I think blue is kind of like a safe color, right? When you think red, you think negative, or
Evil.
evil, or blood, or that type of thing, right? So as far as like dressing style, I invested into like I said, suits, like ties, clean clothes, nice shoes. and I also invested into collared shirts, right?
Mhm.
Because, as much as I wanted to be a professional or look like a professional, look the part, I know that, like, I was watching a lot of Sean Terry's videos, and Sean Terry was like, hey, if you go on some of these appointments, you don't want to like pull up in a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari and then, really try to stun on people, right? Because you could be dealing with somebody with no money and they just look at you envious and like, like with jealousy. And that's not the type of image that you want to portray. You want to portray an image like, hey, I'm a professional, but I'm like you, right?
Mhm.
I'm just like you. I'm a normal person. So collared shirts, jeans, regular shoes, Nikes, Adidas, whatever, right? As long as you kind of look the part, right? I used to carry like this clipboard. I don't know what I carried the clipboard for, but I was just like, hey, I'm gonna carry the clipboard just to make it look like, I
You're
know what I'm
Gotta
professional.
doing.
look important.
Yeah,
Feel
yeah.
important, you know?
It's
And
like
and I was writing down, they would say something, be like, oh yeah, the roof needs to be replaced. All right, roof needs to be even though I could have kept that in my mind, like that's
yeah.
something I could have made a mental note of. I carried it because I wanted to look like, hey, I'm being productive on this appointment. I'm coming with intentions.
Mhm.
And believe it or not, right? Up until recently, like I did a deal the other day. For like 3 or 4 years, nobody ever asked me how old I was. Nobody, right? Because guess what? I came in with that confidence. So when you come in with that confidence, it's like, hey, do you care about my age or do you care about getting your problem solved?
Mhm.
Right. So that's why dressing the part, looking the part is so important, because if you want to get the deal, if you want to get an opportunity, you have to impress them the first time. And you have to make it seem like, hey, there's no doubt in my mind that when I get to this appointment, we're going to do business. And that's the confidence that I portray. So,
Nice.
yes, sir.
And Delano, yeah, that reminds me when you said like, oh, the clipboard thing, because I saw this like clip before. It's like some guy he would bring a ladder and a ladder with him to a movie theater. It's just so he just so he looks like he's working on the job, but he would just go in there and watch a free movie. And my another thing, my old coach, right? He used to say this one quote, look good, feel good, right?
Right.
I know Sami, he knows that quote as well, because he would come in with a nice collar shirt, right? He looks professional coming in. I'm like, oh, he's serious, uh, about everything. But if you came in with like paint on your shirt, it looks a little crinkled, right? You're in an interview, they're not gonna take you as serious, and you'd be surprised. Like, a lot of people, they're like, oh, I don't care that much about myself. But think of it like this: if you were to look to yourself, right? If you want to think about yourself, how do you want to look, right?
Right.
If you were to look at yourself in the mirror, how do you want to look? That's
Right.
it's one of the thing.
You know,
Ben, Simon, go ahead.
wait, hold on. I took his wording the opposite way, because he was like, look good, feel good. And I was like, if I look good, I'll probably end up becoming a teacher. So because of that quote, I dressed up like a slob for like the last 2 years of high school, wearing like an oversized hoodie with like stains on it and like oversized baggy sweatpants.
You're all good, bro. Ben, go ahead. Your mic's still
Can you
muted.
guys hear me?
Yes, you can.
All right, cool. So what's up, man? I'm Ben. I'm in the Army too. I just recently started or not just recently, but I started doing a lot of 3D printing. And
Okay.
I actually have like a decent following on 3D printing and like people that order from me. Like as you like I have my printers running like 24/7 on like things that I like orders for people, right?
Nice.
And I'm actually going up to Fayetteville for Comic-Con to vendor there to sell all my stuff, right?
Dope.
I feel like I'm kind of at that point where like I need to branch out to get my name out there. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
How would you go about that with, people dressing up as Spider-Man and Goku? Like, how do you branch out to those kind of guys, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, hey man, like first and foremost, like when I graduated UNC Pembroke, and I went in with a marketing degree, right? So not that that's like really that relevant, but it's the fact that like I take pride in really try to digest about like, hey, how to market yourself, how to market your business, how to brand, right?
Right.
That's what I've been studying over the past 4 to 5 years, right? And social media obviously is like kind of the go-to now, right? Like social media right now is like the modern day resume. Like people, okay, cool, you got a whole nice job history on paper, but what do you look like? What do you do outside of the parameters of work, right? What are your hobbies? What are your craft, right? I think now more than ever too, right, in this day and age, people want to see the process, right? Like I watch a lot of Instagram videos, like reels, and I watch a lot of TikToks now. But I'm not looking at it for enjoyment. I'm really looking at it for like patterns, right? So I'm seeing a lot of people in different fields like that are doing certain things, and they're not just doing it for like some people are doing it for clout, right? But a lot of people are really documenting the process on how things work, right? So like people that have a business, like a big business that's been, you know, really popping for the past few years is like Amazon FBA, people selling products and things online. Now people are taking they're taking that business and they're breaking it down step by step to people and putting it on social media platforms to show people, hey, this is how to do this. This is the process. This is the journey, right? And it is entertainment, right? It's hey, it's the process, is documentation. This is part of the entertainment and this is part of the branding. But you want to make your branding so hard that it inspires somebody to go and do exactly what you're doing, right? So what I recommend, or what you know, what you're doing with 3D printing is awesome, right? You're building things, you're making things, and you're relating it to, you know, different characters, different, you know, comics, things like that, right? You need to focus on, hey, this is what this is how the process works. Like I would find somebody to literally record while you're doing that process if you're not already, right? And put that on TikTok, right? Put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram. Like the growth right now, like I literally hired a Instagram growth specialist because I'm trying to scale and grow myself, right? And they're saying, yo, the amount of reels and content that you're posting is important, and then the type of content that you're posting, right? So you want to give like, hey, this is what you need to do if you want to do X, Y, and Z, right? Or here are the 3 steps to X, Y, and Z, right? Or here's a secret that nobody knows about 3D printing, right? Like making that engaging, right? To where, hey, when they see that caption, they're going to watch the video all the way through. It could be a minute long, but if you don't make it engaging in that 5-second mark, people are just going to keep swiping, right? People are just going to keep passing off on, you know, passing your brand, right? So what I've done is I've hired a videographer to help me document the journey and help me do things as well too, right? So if you're serious about scaling and marketing your business, at first you start off, you do it yourself, right? And even to this day, I make my own reels and I make my own content, but you're going to come to a point where you're like, hey, like I'm making this, but I really wish somebody was recording this because people want to see the journey, right? Guess what sells more than the product? The story, right? So you want to sell the product, but you got to have a story. You got to have the story with it, right? Like people are just going to see your product and be like, yeah, the product's nice, right? But why should I buy it, right? It's good. Hey, how did you make that product? How long did it take you to make that product? Why did you make that product? You know, what's the reasoning? What's your passion behind that product, right? Those are the things that you have to answer for yourself. And you have to make it vividly known to the person who's your prospect, to who's your customer, so that way you can exponentially grow.
Right.
So that's my advice.
Another question, kind of banking off that. So literally like recently today, I just got like my 6th or 7th networking cert, right? So like I have a big IT background. I found out that I can get out, in 4 years and start making $150,000, $160,000
Nice.
just because of these random tests that the military is making me make or making me take,
Yeah.
And it always occurred to me, like, just getting out and like putting that money that I've been saving just all into this and just like going all out and like trying to set this up. I guess my question for you is like, what would be the biggest thing on like taking that risk that you can advise for other people that want to take that risk too?
Yeah. Nah, great question. Great question. I say like before, like, okay, so this is the traditional way, like, of how people usually invest, right? They usually save their money before they invest, right? And saving is good, right? You should save your money. But there comes a point in time where you have to say, all right, look, I'm going to stop saving and I'm going to start investing, right? And there's going to be different avenues where you start investing that you're saying, will I see a return immediately? Or is this something that's going to help me right now or long term, right? That's something that you should always be asking yourself when you're making an investment. Like, hey, is this investment that I'm making in myself or in my business, is this going to affect me in the next week, in the next few days? Or is this something that's going to be like, hey, over the course of 6 months, this is where I expect my brand and my image to go with it, right? So as somebody that's saved, quite a large amount of money, I'm sure, like, as you're saying, and diving into a field where you're going to be making a lot more money, right? You really have to research and really know, like, hey, is the money that I'm investing into my education, is that my ROI, right? Is that,
Right.
like, what is my ROI with that, right? Like, I could go to college, I could go to school for a degree and go into $100,000 worth of debt. But if I'm going into $100,000 worth of debt to realistically start off only making like 50 or 60 a year, am I okay with that? Right? Am I okay with that? Because I know, hey, this, like, in the future, I can grow it to 100,000 or 200,000. If that's the case, then yeah, you should make that investment. But if you're doing the research and you say, well, kind of the top people, like, if I stay at this profession for 10 years, I'm kind of capped at this amount. Is that worth your time? Is that worth your energy? And is that worth your investment? Right.
Right.
So that's how I think. Right.
Okay. Yeah. And, I also think about, like going to college too, because like, why not? But like, buddy, if I went to college, like there'd only be a couple of things I'd be doing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
buddy's a big bird slammer. So like slamming birds, drinking seltzers, maybe like that'd be my college experience. But like, I don't, it's free though. You know what I'm saying? So like, might as well take that chance. Right. I mean,
dude, honestly, man, like, college for me was more about the connections than anything. It was way more about the connections, because the amount of information that you're actually gonna obtain and consistently use the rest of your life after college is probably only like 20%.
right.
I keep it 100 with you,
Yeah.
right? That's why a lot of people who are successful in different spaces don't go to college, because they realize, well, the 20% that I'm lacking, I can really learn going, to
Nova University.
Yeah. Or signing up for a seminar, or, signing up for a mastermind or mentorship program, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's what I say, like, college is not for everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I was kind of like, my parents was like, yo, you're going to college. So I was like, well, I guess, because I don't know what else I'm gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then from there, I figured it out, right? I was like, okay, well, I'm in college. Why am I in college, right? I'm in college because, like I told myself when I was younger, I wanted to have my own business, right? So what do I need to do? Who do I need to meet? And what steps do I need to take? And where I'm at for the next 4 years, what do I need to do? And what actions do I need to take to push me towards the goal that I'm trying to achieve? right? And if you year one, you get nothing done, right? Maybe college isn't for you. And that's why a lot of people end up leaving college or they drop out, right? Because they're like, well, I didn't get what I was, get what I needed to get done in the first year. So this isn't for me, right? And it's either because they got distracted, right? There was partying, they was messing around with girls, or they're having fun, right? They're either
Right.
having fun or they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a goal. They didn't have an agenda, right? So that's why I say, like, if you go to college, figure out why is it that you're going to class every day. Because a lot of the information you could Quizlet. You can we were using Chegg, right? Like we were doing math probably using Chegg, right? Like we're using all these things to cheat, like to get through college, but the information is less important than the connection that you're gonna make.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm good, man.
And the thing with college is that a lot of people from high school, when they leave, all they know is college, right? They don't
Mhm.
know, oh, how do I start a business? How do I do that? The school has put in their mind, like, hey, after you're done with high school, you have to go to college, and they get a bunch of people from college to show up and like, hey, yeah, and do like their presentation of why you should go to their school. And again, you have to have a good reason why you go there as well. Good reason, because it's a lot of purpose into it too. If you don't like it, you're not going to enjoy it. Like,
Right.
Ben, you like printing, like doing 3D printing. And I like that you actually did niche down to the type of people that you're trying to provide to.
Right,
And
right, right.
that's a big step as well. And you
Yeah.
can put as much, like, you actually know how to actually approach them. You just gotta, what I like to do is quiet time. So just take 20 minutes of your day, quiet, just think of ideas of how to get to them, right? You already know, you know
Yeah,
the answer.
yeah, that's true. All right, 100%.
Shem, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had a question about the marketing side, right?
Yeah.
So you said that it's the product that sells, right? But more so the journey, right? So which aspects of the journey should you really focus on, right? Or
Mhm.
blow up so that the people are seeing the highlighted points? Because if I'm
Mhm.
making TikToks or something about
Mhm.
this thing I'm interested in, I can't
Mhm.
be shaking my ass on TikTok, right? I should probably be focusing towards something else, you know?
All right, yeah, man. All right, love it, bro. Unfiltered. Let's go. All right.
Yes.
So, Shem, what do you do? What do you like to do?
So I'm a big music guy.
Okay.
I'm a rapper. I like to make songs. I like to
Okay.
write lyrics. Go to the studio, dude.
Perfect.
I be
Okay.
spitting. So
So this is what I would do if I were you, right? Do you play any instruments?
no,
Okay,
not
don't
physically.
play. Don't worry about that. You don't play any instruments, right? Talk about if I were you, right, and I'm documenting the story, I'm documenting the journey, right? Um, I would try to make content about things that you struggle with that other people struggle with, right? That you've maybe found out, maybe you struggled with something at one point, like thinking of cadences or thinking of choruses or thinking of lyrics, like something, or picking the right beat, right? Picking the right instrument to the to the flow that you're naturally going with, right? Maybe you create something like that, because I know a lot of people in the music industry, right? I actually, before I started real estate, I was a music manager. Like I managed a rap group, and I did performances, like I scheduled performances for people, and they did shows, and we sold tickets and different things like that, right? So I got to see the behind the scenes of what happens between that, right? So if I'm you, I would be documenting, hey, something that stands out, right? Like, hey, these are the three, here's 3 tips that you can do if you struggle with X, Y, and Z: creating a chorus, writing lyrics, finding the right song, the remix, right? Like, maybe you can make content about like I said, things that people struggle with, but also too things that, like, that they've struggled with that you've already, you know, surpassed and succeeded, right? Maybe you even say like, hey, this is how to make your sound, this is how to make your music sound better, right? Or maybe you get into learning how to master music, and then you start, hey, this is the programs that you need to download in order for you to, you know, master your music. This is the type of microphone that you get. This is the type of things that you put on the walls to make the sound more concentrated and focused, right? Like your brand can be based off of just teaching people how to make music. And you've already made music, right? So you already know what it takes to make a song. You already know what kind of room you need to be in. You already know like what kind of microphone you need to use, what kind of headset you need to use. That's the types of things that people that are wanting to get into your field are hungry to learn. And guess what? There's always going to be those types of people, right? Because you got 15, 16-year-olds blowing up from music, right? And they're like, dang, like he's cool. He's in a music video. Like he's making lyrics, he's making songs. Like I'm trying to learn that. How do I learn that, right? They go to that guy. They're like, nah, I ain't trying to give you that sauce, bro. Like if I teach you that, then you're going to beat me, right? So how do people learn that? They're going to learn. They're going to go online. They're going to go online and try to learn. So that's where you can be in and teach that information. So that's what I would, you know, those are the types of ideas that I would come up with if I'm in your position as a musician.
Right. I got another question for you. So you said that you managed a group, right?
Yeah.
So what did you do to really hook that team up with these shows? Who did you talk to? Who did you go to, and what did you say to them?
Yeah, no, you know, it's crazy, man, because so like a lot of my friends, like they were making music and I was like, yeah, they have like really good talent, right? They have really good talent. So I used to work as a camp counselor in Durham, and I met this one guy named Brian Dawson, and he was the radio host for I think it was like 99.1 in Raleigh, right? So I met him and I was like, hey man, like there's these guys, like here's some of my guys' music. I mean, I was like, you play this on the radio, it's guaranteed that it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be number one on your station. Like you're gonna play this again, right? So I set that expectation, like, look, I promise you, like I know you probably get this a lot, but I promise you, when you listen to this, you're gonna say to yourself, wow, like, hey, this is pretty good. Right. So I started saying, you know, doing that, right? I started kind of eavesdropping a little bit into different conversations, right? So somebody's like, yeah, like, you know, are you going to this concert? Are you going this? You know, it'd be like, hey, have you heard this guy's music? Right. And I started planting those seeds and be like, nah, who's that? I'd be like, hey, take a listen to this real quick. I have my phone. It wasn't an iPhone at the time. But I'd be like, hey man, listen to the song real quick. What do you think about this? Right. And they'd be like, yeah, who's this? Right. So I started doing that. Right. There was this company that I was connected to. They still send me texts to this day, like, hey, here, I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Dillano, what you're saying reminds me of back in the day, like in the 90s. I watched a documentary where people were in McDonald's, right? And they were like dropping their tracks into people's what are they called? Like their bags. And it was like, you gotta listen to it,
Your mixtapes?
Yeah, their mixtapes.
Yeah. Nah, so there was this company called Afton. It's still around, actually. They still send me messages because when we were booking, we were selling out shows. Like it was crazy. So
what did you say?
It's called.
What'd you say it was called?
It's called My Afton. My Afton. Yeah, myafton.com. Right. So it was like a company that they used to book gigs for different like clubs or restaurants and things like that. So you could do you know, performances or stage, you know, sell tickets, different things like that. So they'd put you on a platform where other people, they know, hey, they're going to do a show where other people are going to come, and you could sell tickets, and then you could get portions of that from, you know, other, like basically from people buying the tickets. So that's what we use. And yeah, you know, we just started doing that. We started making flyers. We started doing like trailers. Like we were really doing reels and TikToks before it was blowing up. Like we were making videos. You know, we did like freestyles, recorded it. Like we did a whole bunch of different stuff, right? We did freestyles in random places, like on a school bus. Like we did some wild stuff to get attention, right? We did some crazy stuff to get attention, right? But it worked. And that's what people like. Like people like the different stuff that they see. So, you know.
How did you spell that? My Afton? I can't find it.
Yeah. So MYAFTON.com.
Oh, TON, gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah. That definitely answered my question.
Yeah,
Because that's the next step. You know, the next step is really putting myself out there because I've honed down my craft enough to where the networking is the bigger problem.
Yeah, go to a studio. Definitely like hit them up, like let them know who you are and like what you want to try out.
Dude, I popped over to a studio like a week ago. New song coming out on Spotify.
Nice.
Shem Shiesty guys, right there. Look at that.
So let me ask you this real quick. So the studio, that how long have you been going to that studio for?
That was actually my first time. First time going to a studio.
So did you build a good connection with the producer, the engineer?
I mean, not really. I have her email. Because she had to, you know, email me the tracks and whatnot, but I haven't gone farther. I did have plans to talk to her and be like, hey, you know, is there any other artists that maybe I could work with? Could I get their information? Stuff like that.
Exactly. That's the type of thing that you want to do. You want to do that and then be like, hey, like, who do you see out of everybody that you see, like that you work with? Who do you see is like being like, hey, this person I really think is next up, right? Because they'll know who's that person, right? Because they'll have the crowd with them, they'll have the hype with them, they'll have the swagger with them, right? Engineers know, right? Producers know who's next up. So if you want to be on that wave, right? Sometimes people get famous just being a feature because they were like, hey, they caught them at the right place in the right time. And then you were able to get that feature, or you were able to build that, you know, make that song, and then it blew up, right? And then now people are like, yo, who's Shem Shiesty? Who, like, where the hell did he come from? You know what I'm saying? Who's this guy on the scene, right? And that's where you get that buzz about you, you know? So
right, yeah. I even had it written in my my Shem Shiesty notebook, dude. That was on the plan. You can't see it, but yeah.
Shem Shiesty notebook.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Shiesty notebook.
Yes,
Dude.
sir.
That's the holy grail right there, boys.
Yes, sir. I love it, man. That's dope though, man. That's dope.
Yeah, but that was my first time going to a studio because, you know, for the past you know, Alam knows, I was blowing up our Snapchat group chat with my songs every time I dropped one. But you know, I wanted to get that practicing before I really went to the studio, because, you know, there's different landmarks, you know, to your end goal. So yeah, it was nice to knock that out. We're only going up from there though.
Nice.
Love it, bro.
And Dillano, what got you into Turo in the first place?
Yeah, man. So my buddy's Cameron Johnson, man. He was traveling a lot to Charlotte, and he used to, you know, come by and be like, hey man, can I, you know, spend the night at your house so, you know, I could do business here and then come back. He didn't want to, you know, pay for the hotel or Airbnb. I was like, yeah, man, you know, come on. So one day he came with another, like a different car. I was like, hey man, where's your normal car? He said, yeah, I had that rented on Turo. And I was like, what is Turo, right? He was like, yeah, so basically like a car rental platform that you can, you know, use to make money and people rent your car. I was like, really? I was like, that sounds like a $1 million idea. Like, you know, at first I was like, dang, I was like, so anybody could rent their car on Turo? They're like, yeah. I was like, so they have insurance and all that? And they were like, yeah. I was like, wow. So I was fascinated, right? So I did lots of research. I did like 6 months of research. And then my friend introduced me to somebody when I was talking to him about it. he introduced me to somebody that he met that was doing Turo. So I drove like 3 hours to go meet this guy because I was like, yo, you're the only guy I know that's actually doing this. I'm seeing a lot of people online doing it, but I want to know exactly how to do it from somebody that is right here in front of me. Right. And I sat there, I bought him lunch. I had my notebook out and I was just taking hella notes, right? Because he was showing me like, hey, like, Mercedes brings this much, a Chevy brings this much, a Toyota brings this much, right? And I was like, man, if I could do that myself, that would be awesome, right? So earlier this year, my cousin was like, hey man, like I met somebody that is wanting, that does rental cars, right? And he was like, yeah, he put me in, in place with that person. He helped me get cars, he helped me get set up with everything. And yeah, man, that's just kind of where it got started. I kind of just, went off a limb. I used my good credit to purchase vehicles. And not only with that, but I also co-host and co-manage other people's vehicles as well, and help them make money as well. So it's a really fun hobby for me, because I get to drive different cars that I never thought about even driving or buying or anything like that. But now, like, when I have different cars, I'm able to say, hey, this is a pretty neat ride. I might actually buy this one myself, right?
Yeah.
Or hey, this is pretty cool, right? So it's been a real fun experience, man, and it's a really good it's a really good passive income vehicle for me. So
Yeah, and location for you is good too, because I know you told me that you were 15 minutes away from Charlotte's airport.
Yep, perfect location. And then Turo actually has a contract with the Charlotte airport where people who have Turo cars can park their cars in the garage for free.
Look at that.
So people get off a flight, they don't want to deal with Enterprise, they don't want to deal with Hearst, they don't want to deal with all the nonsense. All they have to do is book their car in advance, find the instructions to get the car, and bam, that's it. Drop it off, take pictures, boom, keyless, right? Almost all of my vehicle like handoffs are contactless, right? And I set different instructions to make sure, like, hey, this is where the car is. Please communicate with me if you have any issues. And then also too, for each car that I have as well, I put trackers on every single car as well, because you might get people that are, little shiesty, right? little shiesty. So I want to protect myself and I want to protect my assets, because assets are something that you make money with, liabilities or not, right? If you're not making money from something, it's a liability, right? So so I want to protect my assets as much as possible.
Nice. And I see a pattern in like a lot of successful people like yourself, is that they're all problem solvers. Like you see the problem and you solve that and you figure out a way. In your opinion, what is the most important personality or trait or strength that someone would need to work in your industry, such as real estate, Turo, Airbnb? What would they need inside themselves?
Yeah, I think they just have to be able to really resonate with people, meet people where they're at, really be just a friendly face, right? Because people go through a lot of different things in life, right? You never know what somebody's going through at the time that they're going through. Like we could all, like everybody on this call right now is probably going through some sort of thing, but we're kind of masking it, right?
Yeah.
And we're all emotional human beings. So we have times where we think about it, like when we're alone, we might think about it and be like, oh, this kind of makes me angry, right? So you want to be that person that always has that positive attitude, right? Because in business, if you're not positive, you're not going to go far, right? Like I worked at Lowe's for 3 years. I worked at a car shipping company for a year and a half, almost 2 years, right? And even when it was time to go, right? Even when like my shift ended, there would be those like stragglers that people come in and they want to buy something at the last minute. And in my head, I'm like, man, I'm ready to go. Like I don't want to deal with these people. But guess what? You have to always maintain that customer service no matter what. You have to, right? Even if you're feeling like, yeah, like I don't want to deal with people today, like you have to put on a shield, right, for yourself and your mind. Like, look, I'm not gonna spaz off on this person just because of how I feel, right? You don't know what they're going through. Maybe their fridge went out just a minute ago, and all their food is melting, or all their food's about to go bad, right? So you have to really be a friendly face, have a really positive attitude, and really just meet people where they're at, right?
Mm.
Whether it be real estate, Turo, I mean, masterminding, networking, whatever, right? We do a lot of events, we're paid events and things like that. So you have to really do that, because people are not just buying the product, right? They're buying you, right? They're buying you. Like you guys have probably bought a car or been in a car lot or gone somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the guy at the register is an asshole, how likely are you to go back to that person, right?
Not at all.
Exactly, right? And I switched up, like I went to a different barber recently because my barber wasn't consistent with me, and I went to a different barber just to try it out, right? And first day I went there, guy was rude. He was mean. He cut me really good. Like that was probably like the best haircut I could have ever got, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his attitude was not friendly, right? So I stopped going to him, not because he couldn't do the job well, but it's because of the attitude, right? And I wasn't sold on, hey, if I'm coming to get my haircut, I want a nice environment. I expect the conversation, I expect like, hey, how you doing? Right? Like I expect those types of things, right? I don't care. It's not all about, hey, can you get the job done? Because for the most part, you could do the job, but how effectively can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of attitude are you giving where you're doing? Do you have a positive attitude, right? So those are the types of things and skill sets I think you need in the business to be successful today in today's business. So
Funny story, Delano, is that when you took the vehicle today, and I Ubered, right? I went inside the vehicle, and it smelled like somewhat like weed, right? It had like a weird smell, and in my head I was like, man, I really just want to complain right now, but I put on my my positive face, right? I'm like, okay. I asked her, hey, you're like, she was old. I'm like, hey, do you have any properties that that you have that you just don't like? And she's like, actually, now that you mention, I have like 6 that my grandma had that I do not want. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I can help you out. When's the closest time? Like I talked all that time. She's like, you know what? Monday, 4:30. Here's my number. I'm right. Okay. And I was like, 6 properties, right? She's like, yeah, my dad passed away too. He has more properties, and I want to keep some of those. But my grandma, I don't want to keep paying taxes on them. I'm like, whoa. And I explained to her what seller financing was, and she was like, whoa, that's awesome. I never heard of that. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. And I'm like, she's like, what? And so like, I could again, you're smiling right now. Like, I could have like been like, oh, this car smells like weed. I hate this, right? I'm like, can I just get out of here? I would have just missed an opportunity. But now I have a big opportunity on Monday to call her up and be like, hey, these properties, I'm interested. Can you send them over? She's literally said she's going to go to the courthouse and print them all off of all the addresses that she has, and I'm just going to email them to me too. So that's opportunities are there just from you, again, attitude, right? Having a positive energy.
Wow, that's phenomenal, man. That's great. That's great, man. You got lucky.
I did. Yeah, luck is there. I'm like, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, I should just start like getting Uber drivers everywhere, because like
I'm about to say, just get an Uber
everywhere you go, right? Just
get an Uber down the street. Be like, hey, you got any properties you want to sell? Nope. All right, I'll get out right here, bro.
Give you a 5-star. Yeah, you're all good. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Hey, what's going on with y'all too, man, over here? Shem and Ben, bro. What is up with y'all?
These guys are buddies. They're like butt buddies right here. They're
I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
Bro,
So
it's like he's blending in with that photo, dude. Like, what is going on, dude?
I look
Yeah.
pretty fucking sick though, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, I know him from his music. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
Yeah.
mainly.
So we're gonna move on to the ending questions here, but before we do that, do you guys have any last questions up in the panel? Just raise your
I
hand.
actually do. I actually do.
Go ahead.
So you know how I was just talking to you about the lady producer,
Yeah.
right? So I'm writing the email right now that I'm gonna send to this lady.
Yep.
I guess I was more or less just asking you for how should I word it? You know, because I got like a hello ma'am, and then I was like, oh, I love the way that you helped me with these tracks, blah blah blah, and then I'm stuck here, right? I said I'm looking to branch out and work with more artists. How should I go from there to maybe make her more inclined to help me out here?
Yeah, I would just say, hey, look, I'm really trying to expand my brand. I'm really trying to grow. It was a pleasure working with you. You're probably the best engineer or producer I've worked with so far, right? You want to kind of start off with a compliment, right? Like that'll get her attention, right? Because she might read it tomorrow morning and the first thing she sees is your email, and that's a good way to start the day, right? Like, hey, I just want to say, it was a pleasure working with you the other day. You're by far the best engineer slash producer that I've worked with. I just want to know, like, how can we work together more, right? How can
I see.
are there any other artists that you could see me potentially working with that fits my sound, right? I would appreciate if you gave me some feedback. I'm constantly trying to grow. I'm constantly trying to expand, and I see myself doing a lot of business with you in the future, right? And
That's awesome. Yeah.
when you say that, it's like, wow, like how could she not respond to that? You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
How can you not respond to that? You just said you gave her a compliment. You asked for her expertise, because a lot of people really feel great when you ask them for advice, right? It makes it
Yeah.
seem like, oh, like you're an authority figure, like you know something, right?
Right.
Like,
Make him feel
so
important.
yeah, so people love when you compliment them. You love the expertise, right? And then most importantly too, you said, hey, I can see myself giving you more business. And if she is in the business, she's gonna eat that up all day, right? So that's how to get people's attention when you're writing an email, right?
Right. Yeah,
Writing
that's
any.
phenomenal.
Yeah, bro.
Thank
Nice.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
All right. Anybody else has any last questions before we get to the ending questions here? All right. All right, Delano. If you can go back in time, right,
Yeah.
and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
Let's see. I told myself buy Bitcoin at $1,000. Buy Bitcoin at $100. Now that's what everybody would say.
That's what everyone does say.
But in all seriousness, I would just tell myself to really just focus more.
Mhm.
Like go out less, because I went out so much, man. Like I like to have fun, bro. Trust me, I like to have fun. I like to party. I mean, I even got asked to go out tonight, right? But I was
Yeah.
like, look, like I really want to just study and focus on my craft, because the next step up for me partying is not just the club. Like I'm trying to be in a mansion partying. I'm
Hell
trying to be
yeah.
in a yacht. I'm trying to be on a yacht partying, right? And how do you get there? You got to have money, right? You got to have money. So like the club is fun, but at the same time, like go out when you've accomplished something. Don't go out when just because you feel like it, right? Because I feel like that's where we struggle. We go out pointlessly. We go out. I mean, if you're trying to, mix and mingle, you're trying to meet some girls, whatever, like that's one thing, right? But once you've got a girl, or you got somebody that you're working with that you want to settle down with, or you can see being a partner, right? Just focus on that, right? Focus on trying to make that relationship healthy. trying to make that relationship strong. I'm not saying you cut off your friends or anything like that, but you should always support your friends. But if you come to find out your friends are not as supportive as you, because that's where I really struggled too, right? Like in my first year of college, the friends that I had, right, were not on the same mind frame as me. So the second semester, everybody vanished, right? Everybody disappeared because they weren't doing the school thing no more. They weren't really talking my language of business, right? And we didn't have the same end goal, right? So just focusing on more people who are, hey, this is the people that I can see myself growing with, that I can see myself potentially starting a business with, and invest, like basically be ready to invest in yourself a whole lot more. Because if I invest in myself a whole lot more, there's some deals that I'm going back in time and thinking about. I could, instead of wholesaling a house, I could have bought the house. Like we talked about this other day, right? Like instead of wholesaling, I could have bought this house. I could have made 100 grand versus 10 grand, right? So that's kind of what I would tell myself. Surround yourself around the right people. Really study more, focus more, and find better investment opportunities. So.
Yeah. I see something in you, Dillano. It's like this positive energy. It's like a spark, right? Did you always have this? Like, I know a lot of people are like, hey, how do I become more positive? How do I become like the law of attraction where people are coming towards me? What advice would you give for that?
Man, like just surround it, like really just being around other people just makes me happy, right?
Yeah.
Like I like to be around different people with different energies, because people have energies that are either inspiring or that are basically out to kill you, right? Like the energy is like dead to you, right?
Yeah.
So when you've been surrounded and just being around the positivity and the seminars and being around like your place of worship and whatever you decide, whatever you go to regularly that brings you joy and fulfillment, right? If it's bringing you more energy, then you're going to naturally absorb that energy, right? Because sometimes you go into places and you're dead, but then you walk out and you're in a better mood, right?
Yeah.
And how do you constantly get that high, right? Like, how do you constantly get that positivity high? You gotta just keep being in that room, right?
Yeah.
Like keep meeting other people, right? Like I get excited when I meet new people because I'm like, well, shoot, like this could be a start of a business relationship, a friendship. We can make money together, right? You never know.
You're
right?
making a new chapter.
Exactly. It's just like another chapter in a book, man. It's another chapter in the book, brother. So,
Love it.
Yeah,
And
bro.
next question is, what would you ask your future self, or what would you tell your future self if he was listening to this right now?
That's a great question. What would I tell my future self? What would I tell, or what would I ask my future self?
Both. You can ask a question. You can tell him something.
That's a great question. I think I would ask my future self, like, what life decision should I transition to right now? Like, I mean, I'm transitioning to right now for me is marriage, right?
Yeah.
But like
Congratulations.
after that, like when should I make that next step, right? Like when should I go for the kid? When should I go for kids? When should I go for, buying my dream home, right? Like when should I go for those types of things, right? That's what I would probably ask myself. And then I just tell myself, just keep going, man. Just keep going, just just keep going. I don't know, you're doing something right. But just keep going. Whatever it is, just keep rolling, man, because you're gonna go far. You're gonna go far,
Nice.
So, yeah.
I like that. Next question is, what do you think the secret sauce is into becoming successful?
Secret sauce. Ooh. What's that Gucci Man quote? He's like, juice is like juice can be easily, like, that can be easily drank, right? Sauce is forever, right? Like, what's the sauce, right? Everyone want to know what the sauce is. So And the sauce, I feel like the sauce in being successful in today's age is consistency, right?
Consistency. Okay.
How much do you do what you want to become every day,
Mhm.
right? So if you're not consistent, you're not going to be successful, right? If you're not pushing yourself to your highest potential, then you're going to fail, right? And there's going to be days, right? I was listening to the Steve Harvey podcast, on the way back, on the way here and on the way back. Like, there are going to be days where it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't, you're not as motivated to do what you want to do because either you just had a bad day. Maybe it wasn't sunny outside today. Maybe you wasted money on something.
Mhm.
But no matter what, you have to look at the end goal. Like, hey, is my goal, is my dreams so big enough that even if I lost everything today, would I still go for that goal? Would I still go for that goal? Right. And that's what you need to ask yourself. So I think success is a mindset.
Yeah.
It's a mindset, it's an action, and it's repetitiveness, right? That's what success is. Because you could say, look, like, hey, I succeeded in this, right? But you're like, oh, I just want to succeed, right? Like, you hit a goal and you'd be like, yes, I succeeded, right? But then you finish that goal and you're like, well, I still want to succeed.
Mhm.
So what's your fulfillment there? And I think the sauce to ultimate success is always wanting more, right? Because if you give up on yourself, like if you give up after doing something, even if you passed it or you failed it, then you didn't do it correctly. That's my standing on it, right? Like for me, I don't believe in retirement.
Mhm.
Like I used to I never in my mind was like, yeah, I'm gonna retire at this age. Or like I said retire by 30, but then I was like, I'm gonna get 30, I'm gonna be like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just sitting here. Like, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more about success. This is my last thought here on this, right?
Mhm.
Success is not just about what you do, but it's also about how you impact other people.
Yes.
It's about how you impact other people, right? How does your business impact other people? How does your brand impact other people? How does your music impact other people? Right? How does your content impact other people? And once you can get into that mind frame of, hey, this is success, and this is what my success has done for other people, or well, this is what my choices have done for other people, and it's been in a positive manner. That's I feel like that is the juice, the sauce, the secret formula to success there, bro.
Love that. Love that. And how do you get out of analysis paralysis, right? A lot of people are just
Mhm.
obtaining information.
Yeah.
They're spending 3 years trying to like figure it out,
Mhm.
how to do real estate, whatever.
Yeah.
What's your best advice to them? They're just want to get more information on it.
Dude, just fail. Just fail. I say fail forward, man.
Mhm.
Like, do it knowing that you're gonna fail, right? Or you could have the attitude like, do it knowing you're gonna succeed. Like, you could either have two ways of doing things, right? Like, yeah, like I already know I'm gonna fuck this up, right? Or you could be like, nah, when I do this, I'm gonna crush it, right? Like, hey, if I'm playing basketball, right? Or if I'm playing any sport, you see a team, right? And you're like, you have one or two thoughts. This team's gonna crush us,
Mhm.
or yeah, we're gonna beat the fuck out this team.
Yeah.
Right. So those are your two thoughts, right? When you're playing sports, right? So it's not like I don't know, right? Because if you come into I don't know, you already lost, right?
Yeah.
So my advice for that is you should have that winning attitude, right? And then also too, be prepared to fail if you're scared of taking action,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't name a single person to me. You can't tell me there's not one person out there that has never failed multiple times or lost it all or whatever. Because every rich person that I've met or saw or met or heard of, they've lost it all at one point.
Yep.
Lived out their car, lived with their mom, whatever.
Yep.
And you can't tell me that there's been always that one person that's hits that pinnacle of success and stayed there over a long period of time. It's kind of like stocks, right? Stocks go up, they go down, up, down, up, down. There's nothing that stays up, right? It could be up exponentially, down, up, but you got to expect the road, the bumps in the roads along the way.
Yes.
That's a given. So fail forward, expect failure, and expect that you're gonna with confidence that you'll be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So
Man, dropping some diamonds out here.
yep, let's go.
And is there any quote that you live by?
Dude, this one, like, it's from a movie. It's called Red Dawn.
Red Dawn? Okay.
Yeah, Red Dawn. And I remember my friend said this in college. He was the one that passed the torch to me to the entrepreneurship club. And he was like, look, man, if you want it, say you got to risk it for the biscuit, bro. You got to risk it for the biscuit, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I was like, risk it for the biscuit, bro. Like, risk it for the biscuit. Don't be afraid, you know, don't care about what other people think. As long as you're doing what you want to do, living your purpose, you know, and that's really what I live by, man. I live by the code. Just you know, do to others what you want to be, you know, other people to do to you, right?
Yeah.
Like the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated, right? I do that. Giving is super crucial to me too, bro.
Of course.
Like I'm a super big giver because, you know, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, it's reciprocity. It comes back full circle, right? So what you give out, if it's positive, if you're giving, if you're wanting to help people, it's gonna come back to you, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, don't like give, like we talked about this today, right? Like give without the expectation to receive.
Yes.
Give without the expectation to receive. So
I like that you took that from that.
yeah, man. Yeah. I always look, every time I meet somebody or do something, bro, I always remember one thing from our conversation. You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
what books would you recommend for certain situations, whether it's business, life, like anything?
man, I got a whole book stack.
Go
right
ahead,
there,
man.
bro.
Go ahead. It's your
All right.
bookshelf. Time to shine.
All right. So I read, this was one of the first personal development books that I bought, Millionaire Success Habits.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
Yeah, Dean Graziosi.
Check
Dean
him out.
Graziosi. He this one's solid. I read this one. I need to read it again, bro, because there's a lot of things that like literally we're talking about right now
Mhm.
that is in this book. Definitely read this one for sure.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, Millionaire Success Habits, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Love that one.
Never Split the Difference. That's good. What's another one? Oh, Richest Man in Babylon, bro.
I love that book.
Everybody needs to read this book. Everybody needs to read this book. I don't care if you're in business or not, you should read this book.
Yes.
Right. I don't care if you're in business or not, you need to read this book because this is like such the best book as far as like personal, like not personal development, but also personal finance, like
Mhm.
taking control of your money, right? Because money is a resource. Money is our servant, right?
Mhm.
Don't think money is not like, don't let money rule you, right? So you have to really take control of your money and know that money is a resource. It's a tool and it's designed to help you. Money is not evil, right? The love of money, they say the love of money is the root of all evil, right?
Yeah.
Because you could be consumed by money, but you got to realize money is your servant, right? Like a king's not worshiping his servant.
Hell no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't treat money like don't treat money like that. Kings aren't worshiping their servants, so you shouldn't worship money. Feel me?
Yeah.
So those are some good ones. If you want to get into wholesaling, I just recommend some things online. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. The 10 Pillars of Wealth.
I heard
This
of that
one's
book.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, this one's really good. This one's really good. This one's really good. Short read. And then I got my own book, right? You can read read my own book.
Plug in.
I talk about it's called How to Make Six Figures Wholesaling Real Estate, whether you work a full-time job or you're in school. Check it out. Definitely share it and send it to you guys. I also got my own course that just came out, Become a Deal Dog. Learn the easiest, fastest way to get started in the real estate. So easy, my dog can do it. That's the
I like that.
So easy, my dog can do it. So
And next,
check out those books and definitely check out my course, guys.
yeah, I also published a book. It's called The Ivory. So now you mentioned The Richest Man in Babylon, and I combined The Richest Man in Babylon and The Alchemist together, and I made that book. So I was like, oh, this is I like it. So I mean, it's my book, so I want to say I like it.
For
And,
sure.
oh, what are some websites and links would you recommend for people? You said wholesaling, right? There are some websites you would recommend.
Oh yeah, I mean, shoot, I'm gonna promote my stuff first.
Go ahead,
definitely.
man. Go ahead. It's all
I'm
you.
gonna promote. So guys, go to becomeadealdog.com. Like I said, nobody is teaching this type of strategy, right? This is how I learned. This is the fastest way I've grown and learned. And you're not gonna find anything cheaper to guarantee success and guarantee results from becomeadealdog.com. So check it out. If you want to learn more about wholesaling, I definitely recommend going on YouTube, looking up Wholesaling Inc., Wholesale to Millions. You got Flip the Freedom, you got Flipping Mastery, you got a lot of these different things, right? Yeah, there you go. Yup.
There you go.
Become the top dog, man. Become the top dog, bro.
Like the suit.
Yeah, bro. See, invest. That's what I'm saying. Invest in yourself, man. You gotta invest in yourself. You gotta show people. You know what I'm saying? You got to. You got to show the results. You feel me?
I love it.
Yeah, you gotta show people the results, bro. You have to, because people aren't gonna believe in you, right? What's DJ Khaled? They ain't believe in us. God did. So you gotta believe in yourself, and then once you've done it, teach somebody else, right? Because once you teach somebody else, that's how you know you've actually mastered it.
Of course. And you learn more even when you teach them too.
Yep, and you learn even more. So that definitely check it out. Like I said, fastest, easiest way, little to no capital. So
all right. And we have this thing here. Oh, hold up. Oh man, I don't even want to ruin it yet.
What was that?
So it's spin the wheel. So before we move on to the last two questions, we do a spin the wheel. Let's see what you got. All right. If you could pick any superpower, right? I know you're a whole anime freak as well, or anything, right? So go ahead. What superpower would you have?
What superpower would I have?
Yeah.
I like this. I like to be fast. Like I like the Flash. I'm a big fan of the Flash. So like, if I could have a superpower, it would definitely be quick, right? Like super speed, right? Because I hate the time it takes to cook something. I hate the time it takes to travel somewhere. Like, I just want to get there and be be ready and be done.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I definitely want some super speed, because I could be impatient.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. What about you? What would you take?
Honestly, I said speed before, but I would just like to slow down time, right? Or
I
like
was thinking that at first too, though.
I was like, if I can slow down time, I can do multiple things. I'm just thinking of that one Megamind, like the Megamind movie where like whoever that Captain, Mr. Ultra or something, right? He was just like, before he would like fake his death, he would spend a whole day all to himself, like reading books. And I'm like, whoa, I could be doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Sami, what's your question?
So you said you'd get super speed, right, to go somewhere, right? Why would you choose that over, say, like teleportation?
Because super speed you could apply it to anything. You could read a book fast, you
Hell
could
yeah.
cook, you know. Teleportation with I mean you only just travel. I guess with teleportation you're only just traveling somewhere and you just get there in an instant, right? Which is good, right? You could do that and that's cool, but I want to be able to do things fast. Like I want to be able to write an essay or write an email fast, right? So that's why I would take that over that, you know.
Man, I can imagine just a superhero just writing emails super fast. Instead of using his power for like being heroic and all that, he just uses his power to send emails doing like business shit.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. Like record stuff, get
Yeah,
things done fast. Like, yeah, I'll take that all day.
that's a reality show right there.
Yep.
And second to last question, is there anything that you would like to tell your mother and father?
My mother and father, I love you guys. You supported me my whole life. You never let me go hungry. You guys are the reason why I'm here today. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. You know, I definitely want to, you know, make sure that you guys are good. I want to be able to, you know, help you guys to finally relax and you know, do what you guys want to ultimately do in life, travel, do more and live a long time. I hope you guys live till you're in your hundreds, you know. So
Love that. And lastly, how can people reach out to you?
yeah, follow me. Follow me on Instagram at Real Estate Lano.
Mhm.
Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook or friend me on Facebook, Dillano Medina. I got TikTok now.
Nice.
I might change the name, but right now the TikTok is Dillano RE King.
What are you gonna
Dillano
change it
Real
to?
Yeah, Dillano Real Estate King. And then I got a YouTube page.
No.
My YouTube page is called The Vision Board.
A vision board.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Nice, nice. I like that.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Thank you, Dillano, for coming out here. We loved having you. And again, congratulations on getting married, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Bye.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.